Um, Hello, my name is Chris Nolan, and I'm recording a astrology webinar. The theme tonight is Jupiter and Saturn in our natal chart, and we are going to start with a chart belonging to Jennifer. We're confirming that you can see the chart that's on my screen. I'm first going to review our assets, our resources here on the left and middle side of my screen. In the upper left-hand corner is the degree theory. Yes, I do use degree theory. I feel like it's really important to give as much detail as possible when I'm doing a chart. We also have here in the middle where my mouse and my arrow is, and that is the chart of the moment. You'll notice that Sun is at 0 degrees Sagittarius, Pluto is at 0 degrees Aquarius, Jupiter is in retrograde in Gemini. We know it's in retrograde because there's an R at the end of Gemini. And Saturn is stationed direct. It is currently transiting the zodiac sign, the water sign of Pisces. Now, down here below are some glyphs. I talk about the glyphs often as we're looking at the charts. So here on the left are the glyphs for the planets. And then below the chart of the moment are the glyphs for the zodiac signs. Sometimes they look different depending on the software we're using. For tonight, we will all be using the same software at home and here on the webinar, I'll be using the same software, and that's astrocharts.com. I like astrocharts.com, and that's the one I use on these webinars because you can see visually the relationship between the planets and the asteroids here in the middle of the natal chart. And as always, our ascendant, which is the eastern horizon at the second we're born, the ascendant chart changes every 2 hours. And that ascendant looks like it's at 9 o'clock on the natal chart. And that is the beginning of our first house. And the first house starts at 9 and rotates counterclockwise around, meaning that the 12th house, the house of the subconscious, is at 10 o'clock. And the 11th house is before that. The first house is below it. So what we're going to do right now is talk about Jupiter and Saturn in our natal charts. We have a natal chart that tells us where Jupiter and Saturn was at the exact time of our birth. Saturn has a slower transit than Jupiter. Jupiter takes a year to go through the entire, Jupiter spends 1 year in each zodiac sign, so it takes 12 years to go around the entire zodiac. But Saturn spends 2.5 years in each zodiac sign. So right now, Jupiter is transiting Gemini. So if you have your natal chart with a Jupiter in Gemini, then you're in your Jupiter return. Saturn is right now in Pisces. So if your natal chart has Saturn in Pisces, you're in your Saturn return. I did want to talk briefly about the Sagittarius energy because Sun is at 0 degrees. And when Sun is at 0 degrees of Sagittarius, it's truly embodying the essence of Sagittarius. What is Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So it's luck and it's protection. What do I mean by protection? So Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, friends, and its magnetic force, its gravitational pull, is 20 times as strong as the Earth. What does this mean? We call it the great benefic and the great protector. It literally pulls asteroids and comets heading to Earth out of their trajectory and propels them out of the solar system. So Jupiter has saved Earth countless times. That's just the astronomy of Jupiter. It also doesn't have really a surface. Jupiter's surface is kind of liquid and gas. It's sort of constantly rotating with hydrogen and helium. It has a very unusual surface to it. But Jupiter is considered the great benefic, and Jupiter is associated with higher education, with broad perspectives, and with broad perspectives, foreign travel. really embracing new cultures and wanting to learn about them. So when we see Jupiter, we immediately think protection. We also think expansion. But because everything is polarity, Jupiter will expand everything. So if you're going through a challenging time, Jupiter will expand that as well. When Jupiter was in Taurus, a lot of people had larger meals because Taurus rules food. And when Jupiter has a hard placement, a hard transit in one of the Dashthana houses, 6, 8, 10, and 12, that can be an even more challenging time. We're going to deep dive into that. So Saturn is most recognizable in astronomy by the rings around Saturn. And also Saturn gets a bad rap. I happen to love Saturn because Saturn, more than any other planet, wants us to be the very, very best we can possibly be. Saturn is, yes, the taskmaster. Saturn is the king of karma. But Saturn's real goal is to make you the very best version of you in the highest timeline. And it's not easy. If you were to clean a room, Jupiter would come in and say, great job. And Saturn would come in and say, you haven't bleached this at all. They're very different energies. And so I'd like to present the evening as sort of a cosmic dance where Saturn is building us up. I mean, Saturn is challenging us, and Jupiter is giving us rewards and protection and building us up. So we're going to start with, does anybody have any questions about the astronomy or the general explanation about Jupiter being the great benefic and Saturn being the taskmaster, the king of karma, neutral discipline, hard work, rules, delays? That's sort of the opposite energy of these two planetary giants. Also remember, the moon is visible from Earth, Venus, Mercury, Mars visible from Earth. Sometimes Jupiter is visible from Earth. Sometimes Saturn is visible from Earth. But Jupiter and Saturn are the last of what's considered inner planets. So that means, yes, they can hit our subconscious, but they're also very, very, very a huge part of our material world. You can feel these planets in your material world on a day-to-day basis, where the outer planets, which are Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, are really generational planets that last 10, 12, 15, 19 years in a zodiac sign that hit our subconscious and hit a whole generation of folks. For example, Pluto in Virgo, more than 10 years, people born with Pluto in Virgo, me included, they're all about helping others and doing acts of service. That's just part of our hardwiring. Okay, I am sharing my screen. We're going to work on Jen's chart first. We're going to recognize the glyphs of Jupiter and Saturn in this way. Jupiter is the glyph that looks like a number 4, and Saturn is the glyph that looks like the number 5. And in Jennifer's chart, it looks like Sagittarius is the zodiac sign that Saturn is in, and Jupiter is in Aquarius. Let me speak about Aquarius first, please. Pluto has just stepped into Aquarius. Pluto's run through Capricorn was extremely, extremely challenging. Why? Specifically, Pluto is about rebirth, innovation, and massive transformation and change. Radical change. Death and rebirth, change. And Capricorn is boulder, rock, mountain, grandfather, patriarchy, tradition, rules. Capricorn doesn't want changes. Capricorn wants structure. And so these were challenging years having Pluto be in Capricorn so far, because it wasn't symbiotic, where Pluto in Aquarius is extremely happy because Aquarius is about radical innovation, rebellious innovation. Remember, friends, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of massive, unexpected, radical, rebellious innovation, out of the box, unique thinking. And I may add that Saturn just did 2.5 years in your house of Aquarius. Saturn just went through with a fine tooth comb with bleach, really squeezing us all in Aquarius. We just all went through the ringer with a transiting Saturn for 2.5 years in Aquarius. So now Pluto steps in. Pluto's happy in Aquarius, and Aquarius loves change. And Pluto's here to say, I want to change and make things better. And Saturn's like, I already did that. This is going to be a much, much better, easier, fulfilling, lovely transit. I love Pluto in Aquarius. Everybody's like, watch out, Pluto in Aquarius. No, no, this is going to be amazing. If we understand that it's not us, it's the planets, and we are welcome to embrace the changes that come with Aquarius, naturally come with Aquarius, intuitively come with Aquarius. If we're ready to be very, very authentic, Aquarius wants us to wave our freak flag. It wants us to focus on our special and unique, extraordinary gifts, and to be ourselves in the most radically plausible way. And it will reward that. It will reward that wholeheartedly a million times. So Pluto in Aquarius is great. And Jennifer has Jupiter in Aquarius, which is amazing. So Jupiter is the planet of protection, the planet of expansion, the planet of rewards, and we're expanding Aquarius energy. Again, Aquarius is radical innovation, radical authenticity, and we're being rewarded for that. Let's see what house you have Aquarius in. It looks like your Jupiter is in direct opposition to your ascendant in Leo. Ascendant in Leo, let me confirm. Your ascendant in Leo is at 19 degrees. Jupiter is in Aquarius at 19 degrees. Remember, we talked in our aspects webinar about the power of our aspects. And if you look here on my screen, you're going to see that Jupiter, the planet of luck and protection and benefits and rewards and bliss, is in direct opposition to our ascendant in Leo at a 0-degree orb. What does that mean? So our orbs really count to 12. I like an 8-degree orb. It's exact and more powerful the smaller the orb. 19 degrees ascendant in Leo, 19 degrees in Jupiter is an exact, it's a 0-degree orb. It means it's the most powerful orb. That's luck and blessings on your ascendant. That means the personality you show the world. And the personality you show the world when you're a Leo is one of tremendous responsibility. Leo is the lion, the king. We wear a crown and we sit on the dais. And so you're being asked to stand on the big stage and take responsibility. People probably come to you for advice. And because Jupiter is there aspecting it in such a strong way, you're getting rewarded for doing that. Let me just see, because you're right on the cusp between the 6th and 7th house. So technically, your Jupiter is in the 7th house. What does that mean? The 7th house, friends, is about relationships, where the 1st house is about me and my appearance and my identity. You probably have beautiful, beautiful hair, having Leo in your 1st house and in your ascendant. Leo is about a lion's mane, right? A very regal appearance. You probably carry yourself very, very beautifully, very well, very confidently. Royalty is usually very confident. So to have Leo in your ascendant, you exude some confidence there. And the 7th house, which is where your Jupiter is about relationships, how you relate to one other person, whether it's a friendship or a coworker or a partner in business. It is not a sibling relationship that is ruled by the third house, but Jupiter is expanding and making those relationships with others, specifically one-on-one relationships, partnerships, coworkers, romantic relationships. It's a very generous position. It's a very fortuitous position. One would say you would be lucky in love to have Jupiter in your seventh house. With Aquarius in our seventh house, friends, we may be able to easily partnership with many others. You may have 4, 6, 8, 10 very qualified suitors that you would be very, very happy with. You may have very many options. You may have a little black book that's full of very wonderful candidates for you to spend your time with. And what this is it's the universe is saying, look at you able to attract intelligent, kind, capable, generous people. That's what Jupiter in the seventh house in Aquarius is, because Aquarius is rules the 11th house of friendships. So you would be friends with people that you're working with, friends with people that you're dating, because Aquarius is the natural ruler of the 11th house. Does that resonate, Jennifer?
Yes.
Saturn in Sagittarius. Let me just confirm the house that you have Saturn in. So you have Saturn in the fourth house. Saturn in the fourth house. So the fourth house is ruled by Scorpio, but you have Saturn in Sagittarius. I use Placidus, friends, and I use degree theory because I want this to be more precise. When our fourth house is ruled by Scorpio, there may be a very close relationship with family, a very trusting relationship with family. Scorpio is intuitive because it's one of the water signs. We also may have had a parent or sibling in our childhood home that had a sharp tongue. Because remember, Scorpio rules the eighth house, and Scorpio is very good at diving deep and also being very intuitive and understanding the message that's being transmitted even without words, having that instinctual gut feeling. If mom says it's fine, you know what she really means. It would be that kind of an atmosphere, perhaps. The other thing about having Saturn in Sagittarius is that even though there may have been firm rules in your childhood home, you understood how to navigate it. Why? Sagittarius is a mutable sign. And Sagittarius is, because it's mutable, it's able to pivot. It's able to, if dad says no, I'm going to go to mom. If mom and dad said no, I can go to grandma and grandma will say yes. Sagittarius finds a will and finds a way. Let me expand on that for just a moment. Remember the archetype, and we have to remember the archetype. Your archetype is Capricorn, Sun, yes, rules and discipline ruled by Saturn, but your Saturn is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about focus, and the archetype for Sagittarius is the centaur. It is half man, intellect, incredible intellect. Remember, Sagittarius rules higher education and broad perspectives, but it's also this stallion, half man and half brute strength. And so you're able to navigate and use that higher education, higher intellect, and you're also able to focus because the sign of Sagittarius is actually the archer and focused on the center of a target. So you're able to pivot and you're also able to understand and process many sophisticated concepts. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, I am going to work on my next chart. Let me just check the chat. Yes, Lucy, thank you for pointing that out. I had to re-email the link, and I did re-email the link. We are in the shadow period of Mercury in retrograde. Mercury is going to be going into retrograde. And so we're having some communication challenges. Mercury also rules technology. So this is not surprising that Mercury, good. I'm so glad. Thank you very much for sharing that, Yvonne. I really appreciate that. I'm so glad that the link worked. Again, I sincerely apologize for the Mercury retrograde technology and communication challenges. I take full responsibility. I should have triple checked the link at 7 o'clock. I'm sorry, it took me a few minutes before I resent it. And I really appreciate your patience. If you could just note in the chat if you would like to volunteer. I did have some people email me their chart, and I think I'm going to work on that. Yes, Mimi, I would love to do your chart. Thank you. I'm going to Rachel, you are on this call and you emailed me. Can you just confirm that I can do your chart right now, Rachel?
Yes, yeah, you can.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to pull up Rachel's chart since I have it in here. I am going to share screen, confirming that you can see my chart. I'm going to add all of the asteroids. I like Ceres, which is the planet of nurturing, Pallas, which is the asteroid of strategy, Vesta, the asteroid of patience, Lilith, our brave divine feminine warrior, and Juno, our attachment theory. Confirming that you can see my screen. And we have Rachel. Rachel, we're working today on Jupiter and Saturn in your natal chart and also in transiting. Rachel has her Jupiter in Capricorn. Remember, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn in Scorpio. Scorpio is an intuitive water sign that traditionally rules the 8th house of taboo subjects. What do I mean by taboo subjects? Anything that doesn't usually get talked about. We don't really talk about death, sex, and taxes. The 8th house is also about other people's resources. When we have Saturn in Scorpio, we perhaps are not eager to share resources. Maybe when we get married, we don't want to have a joint account. We want to keep our assets separate. Perhaps when we get married, when we have our Saturn in Scorpio, we don't want to take someone else's last name. That is very typical of Saturn in Scorpio. Let's just check what house you have your Saturn and your Jupiter in. Jupiter is in Capricorn. Capricorn traditionally rules our 10th house of work, and you were born with your Jupiter in retrograde. We know that because here we have a R in parentheses. Retrograde is when we're moving backwards through our zodiac sign, and Capricorn traditionally rules work. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and it's about working hard. It's also about tradition and patriarchy and following the rules and working with discipline. With Jupiter in Capricorn, we are rewarded for our efforts, which is amazing because the Saturn energy traditionally is the opposite. It's working hard, and being patient and waiting for rewards. Whereas Jupiter in Capricorn, you're working hard, yes, and you can see the results from your efforts more quickly. So I super duper love Jupiter in Capricorn. Let me just check what houses you have. Your Jupiter is in the 3rd house of communication, and Saturn is in your 2nd house. Saturn in 2 and Jupiter in 3. Let's talk about what our 2nd house represents. If you look here in Rachel's chart, you'll see that her ascendant is in Libra. Let's speak briefly about Libra and ascendant. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Libra is the zodiac sign of the scales. It's about being fair to everyone. Libra ascendant wants to be fair to everyone. It makes sure that if you're sharing pizza, that everybody gets an equal slice. It's very important to put other people's needs. Sometimes when we're a Libra ascendant, I am also a Libra ascendant, we put other people's needs before our own. We also have Pluto. Let me just check where you have Pluto, it looks like. You have Pluto in Libra at the critical 29 degrees. And that is a karmic placement. And then you have Saturn at 10 degrees. So you have Pluto, the planet of massive transformation, within a 11 degree orb with Saturn. So you definitely have Pluto influencing your Saturn in Scorpio. So let's talk about the second house. Libra in the first house, Scorpio in the second house. Our second house rules self-esteem. Our second house rules material assets, not just buying a house or saving money. What happens when Saturn is in our second house? We want to save a lot of money, and we will not be eager to spend money. We will be very cautious in spending money, and we will look for something to be on sale. We're very disciplined. Remember, Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn is rules and delays. You might love a pair of beautiful boots or dress, but you're going to keep it in your cart and you're going to wait and wait and wait until you can find a discount code. That is absolutely Saturn in the second house. You may look in a town to buy a house for many, many years and do a lot of research about the best school districts and the best areas. You may buy a fixer-upper and then work on that house over a long period of time because Saturn represents delays and hard work. We are not afraid of working hard when we have Saturn in the second house, Rachel. You may absolutely buy a house that is a fixer-upper. Now, your Saturn is transiting, I believe it is transiting your sixth house. So when Saturn is transiting our sixth house, we're going to put an importance on our health, our physical health, Rachel, our mental health, and our spiritual health. It does not surprise me with Saturn in your sixth house that you're on an astrology call. Pisces is the one of the zodiac signs that really leans into the subconscious and spirituality and faith in the unseen, our inner instincts, our intuition. And with Saturn traveling the sixth house of in Pisces, in spirituality, we are meditating more, perhaps. We're doing more yoga. We're more focused on eating healthy foods. Sixth house is also about daily habits. So it could be about taking our vitamins every day, about taking an exercise walk every day, about meditating every day. And when we do the hard work, we are protected. What do I mean by that? If you were not following the Saturn rules in the sixth house of health, you may encounter a health crisis. It's very common for people who are not listening to their instincts and who are not behaving in a Saturn-like way where you follow the rules and discipline and you eat healthy habits to have a medical challenge during Saturn transiting your sixth house. Does that resonate, Rachel?
Very much so, yes.
Okay. So I too am a Libra ascendant, and as soon as it got close to Saturn transiting my sixth house, you better believe I did a biome test. I went and got all my blood work. I visited all my doctors. I'm really focused on exercising. And the sixth house in its highest aspect, and Virgo, because Virgo is traditionally the ruler of the sixth house, is about service. And you may notice that I do a lot of free astrology webinars. That's Saturn transiting the sixth house. Sixth house is really about doing service, about helping others. And hopefully, when everyone on this astrology call is learning how to read charts, that you could share the wisdom you're learning with other people and encourage other people to take advantage of the wisdom that you're acquiring. Does that resonate?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And Jupiter is currently right now transiting in Gemini. I'm going to confirm. Let me just look at the degrees. Yep, Gemini is in your ninth house. And so you may be reading more. You may have a desire to travel more. You may have a desire to share your wisdom with others because Gemini rules communication, and Gemini in the ninth house has the ninth house themes of foreign travel, higher education, and spirituality. Um, Teaching and learning, reading, educator. Remember, Jupiter is the great benefic. So when you align with these ninth house themes, you will be rewarded. So I just spent 2 weeks in India, and I'm going to travel into foreign lands as much as I possibly can, um, as often as I can, because when Jupiter is traveling our ninth house, we want to really hone in on those ninth house themes of learning and educating. I'm taking many classes. I've been signing up for webinar after webinar after webinar for myself. I do research, even though I have studied endlessly about astrology. I do a deep dive for a week before my sessions, just really exploring the themes of Saturn, the themes of Jupiter in all the houses and with all the zodiac signs. The more learning we can do, the more educating we can do, the more communicating we can do, the better. Does that resonate, Rachel?
Yes, I'm reading about 5 different books right now and just on a very much like healing journey for myself.
1,000,000%. The healing journey is definitely Saturn in Pisces, and the learning is definitely Gemini in your ninth house. Remember that sixth house is about daily habits, so you probably read every day. And it's really about health, physical health, mental health. And this is especially important for a Libra ascendant, if I may. We tend to put other people first, but we can't help others unless we're super healthy and happy. And Libra is ruled by Venus, so you would actually also be rewarded every time you can connect with your 5 senses. Remember, it's listening to beautiful music, it's smelling wonderful things like essential oils or buying yourself flowers. Specifically, friends, yellow flowers. Remember, Jupiter is aligned with the color yellow. So my checkbooks are yellow. I have yellow nail polish on my toes. I have a pillow on my bed that's yellow. My office is painted yellow, 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 yellow. Yellow is the color of Jupiter, rewards, expansion, protection, bliss, happiness. So every time we can embrace Jupiter, we do. Jupiter also rules Thursday. I always have an astrology webinar on a Thursday because it's the day that Jupiter rules. And so there's luck and abundance. And of course, Jupiter is our great benefic about education and learning and sharing ideas. Does that resonate?
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic. I am going to bring up the next chart. Thank you so much. Thank you for the message, Mimi. I have input. Yvonne, you emailed me earlier.
Yep, I did.
May I pull up your chart, please?
I would love it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stay on until everybody gets their chart done. Okay, I'm sharing a chart right now. Confirming that you can see. We're going to work on Yvonne's chart. I have gone into settings and I've selected all of the asteroids so that I can see as many details as possible. We're looking for the glyphs of Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter is the great benefic, and it has a glyph that looks like the number 4. On this software, Saturn has a glyph that looks like the number 5. And I've identified Jupiter in Leo, and I'll confirm that. And I've identified Saturn in Pisces, and I'll confirm that. So first and foremost, Yvonne has her natal Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn is in a return right now because Saturn is transiting Pisces. There are many, many, many great resources. I have this book. There are many books about Saturn and Saturn return. Saturn return in Pisces in your specific house is the information you know. You do not have to read an entire book. I can send you a little blip. Let me just write that down because I would rather have it specific to you on your specific chart with your data, because I like things very, very precise. So, yeah, I have my MBA in corporate finance. I thought I was supposed to be a finance major. I like things very, very precise. I have 4 placements in Virgo, which is details, details, details. And so I would rather that you didn't read a whole book, but just specifically stick to your chart. Let me just confirm where you have Saturn in terms of the house. So you have Saturn in the 7th house and a Saturn return. And you have your Jupiter in the 11th house. Your 11th house is ruled by Cancer, the planet of the zodiac sign of nurturing, of home, of mother. What I think that means for you is that you may be the mama bear in your friend group. People may come to you for advice. You may want to feed everyone and host dinner parties or host the potluck at your house. That's what Cancer in the 11th house is. It's a very nurturing position that you may be taking care of people that you're friends with in a more maternal role. And Jupiter here is only going to expand that energy. Now, your Jupiter is in Leo in that placement. And so Leo is, yes, it's the planet, the zodiac sign of responsibility, but Leo's also about fun. Leo rules the 5th house of like our teenage years, like age 18 to 25, where you're going out and you're having a great time. So for Jupiter in Leo to be in the 11th house and your 11th house ruled by Cancer, yes, we have our nurturing energy, but I may add this nuance of Jupiter in Leo, you're fun. You're super fun. And when people hang out with you, they're going to have a good time. And you have a youthful energy that is very charismatic. Remember, Leo is a very regal position and it's a very captivating position. It's also a very, if I dare say, it's charismatic and you have a very, very enticing presence. And that is only expanded because Jupiter is there. Remember, Jupiter makes things larger, it expands things, where Saturn is constricting and following the rules, and Saturn is about delays and hard work and neutral discipline and not having attachments. This makes the 7th house placement of Saturn very, very challenging. You may hesitate before opening up to someone that you're close with or a partner. It may be delays in making a commitment. You may want to date someone for a very, very long time before you commit to that partner. It can be a very, very, you might want to follow the rules. You might think that it's a long time commitment if you date someone. And so you're not sure in the beginning if you want to jump in with 2 feet. You might want to have them really fit the bill, fit the criteria very specifically. Does that resonate?
Yeah, like it's scary how much that all resonates. So much.
So I'm going to say this for everyone. for Yvonne, but also for everyone. It's not you. It's the planets. It's not you. It's the planet. When you get an instinct, it is the planet trying to teach you a lesson. It's trying to alert you. But you have free will. You absolutely have free will. As a Virgo ascendant, Yvonne, you are going to research, 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 research. Remember, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is an anxious planet. That is your ascendant. And so you want all the facts. You want all the facts. And Saturn is making you delay, 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 delay. And you want all the details and you want all the details. So it's counterintuitive, but truly, because Pisces rules your seventh house, this is about taking the leap of faith, of asking not what the rules are, not what the research is, not figuring it out in a list. And I know that's what our instinct says when we're a Virgo ascendant and we have Saturn in the seventh house. I know it's counterintuitive, but it's really, truly about asking, what does my heart want? What does my heart want? And taking that bold leap of faith. Pisces is the traditional ruler of the 12th house. And Pisces is ruling your seventh house. And so it really does feel like a tug of war. You know, this person could be really attractive, the friend or the business partner, but you're saying, look at all the facts, look at all the research. I'm not sure that this is good for the long haul. It doesn't have to be good for the long haul. It doesn't. It could be Mr. Right Now. It could be Miss Right Now. I know that she's moving in 18 months, but you know what? I'm going to enjoy her friendship as much as I can before she moves. That can happen. That is a very big push or pull with Saturn in the seventh house. Does that resonate?
It really does. Yes. Many situations, and it explains everything.
Yeah. It's not you. Your hesitancy is because of the hard wiring, but you have free will. So I'm going to strongly, strongly encourage you to keep asking. When these planets are trying to make us the very best version, you deserve fun, you deserve love, you deserve to have a good time, and you deserve to follow your heart. So again and again and again, it is not you, it's the planets. It's not me, it's the planets. It's not me, it's the planets. It's not me, it's the planets. And what does my heart want? What does my heart want? What does my heart want? Especially when we have Virgo, the zodiac sign of lists, details, practicality, hard work, long hours. Virgo wants you to work 18 hours a day. And Saturn in the seventh house is such strict requirements. So have more fun. Does that resonate?
It so does. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it.
Well, it's not you, it's the planets.
I literally wrote that all down. It's going to be like my note in my calendar. So it's very good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I am going to stop share. I'm going to pull up another chart. Let me just refer to my chat. I know Mimi. Thank you. Scrolling, scrolling. I'm sorry, I have so many charts saved in my software. Thank you for typing out the month. I really appreciate that. You must have remembered from our last webinar. Thank you very, very much. I love an exact birth time. Thank you for doing that. And we are AM. Verifying for accuracy. AM.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mimi. I'm going to click on share screen. And we are together. Welcome, Catherine. We are working on Mimi's chart. Today we're focusing on Saturn and Jupiter. I'm going to click on Saturn. I'm going to go down to the third tab and I'm going to add all of our friendly asteroids. We have 5 optional asteroids: Ceres, Nurturing, Pallas, Strategy, Vesta, Patience, Lilith, the Divine, Powerful, Female, and Juno, our planet of attachment style. And we are looking for the glyph of Jupiter, indicated by the number 4, and the glyph of Saturn, indicated by the number 5. That's what the glyph looks like here on the right. We have our resources here on the left, and you can see on the left in the middle that we have Jupiter transiting Gemini, still in retrograde, reviewing. It will be, Jupiter spends 1 year in a zodiac sign. It began the transit in Gemini in May. It will end its transit in Gemini this May around Memorial Day. So we're going to reap the benefits of Jupiter in Gemini until Memorial Day, and then it will move into the sign of Cancer. We also have Saturn in Pisces. So we're going to pay special attention in case we have any friends, which we did tonight. If we have a Saturn return, that can be an especially challenging time. Right now, we're looking at Mimi's chart. We're looking for the glyph that looks like a 4 Jupiter and the glyph that looks like 5 Saturn. So for Mimi, we have Jupiter in Pisces at 6 degrees, and we have Saturn in Gemini. That's so funny because Jupiter is transiting Gemini and Saturn is transiting Pisces. That's so interesting. Let's get our houses. Jupiter is in our 2nd house in Pisces. Wowza. That is extremely fortuitous, Mimi. And we have Saturn in our 6th house. We just talked a little bit about what Saturn in our 6th house is, and we will review that as well. Saturn in our 6th house is about making sure that we have very healthy daily habits, that we exercise every day, that we connect with nature every single day, that we do our meditation and our yoga, we take our vitamins, and we eat healthy every single day. And Saturn is going to make us feel guilty if we don't make these healthy choices, or if we're supposed to go to the gym every day and we skip a day. Saturn will come in and make us feel guilty about not following those 6th house rules. Remember, 6th house is about service, about daily habits, about health, about work. If we take a mental health day from work, Saturn might make us feel guilty. You deserve to eat the tiramisu, Mimi. You're allowed to have dessert. You're allowed to go to the gym 3 days a week or 5 days a week. You don't have to go to the gym 7 days a week. You don't have to spend 8 hours at the gym every single day. You can take a 10-minute walk. You don't have to walk for 90 minutes. You don't have to send a birthday card. There are certain things that Saturn in the 6th house will make us feel guilty about. Does that resonate?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We need to be kind to ourselves. We need to understand that Saturn, at its very, very core, Saturn takes our fears and our insecurities and makes them bigger. Saturn puts us in the corner and squeezes us. Saturn is the planet of karma, yes, and we can really cleanse our karma. And one of the ways I work on Saturn in the 6th house is that when I'm out walking my dog, I take an extra bag and I pick up trash and I put it in the trash bag. That's a really helpful thing when Saturn is going through your 6th house. A very easy thing to do because, one, helping other people and helping society and doing acts of service is very Saturn. It's extremely Saturn in the 6th house. Because you have Saturn in your 6th house, I also mentioned dogs because the 6th house is also about pets, specifically dogs. If you had Saturn in the 6th house and you had some chronic health challenges, you could actually burn up some of that energy by taking care of a sick pet. Does that resonate?
Wow. Okay. I'm definitely acts of service person.
Absolutely.
I don't, yeah, I don't have a pet, but it's funny because I've been really thinking about getting one. So yeah.
With Saturn in the sixth house, Saturn in the sixth house would be made very, very happy if you went with a rescue.
Okay.
Does that
Okay.
that will make your
That
Saturn in the sixth house very, very happy. And specifically, if I may add, I'm gonna place, devil's advocate. If to make Saturn in the sixth house extremely happy, that pet that you adopt, rescue might have a disability. And let me tell you,
okay.
like, it's part blind or part hearing impaired, or has like is recovering from surgery, or has been rescued from an area that's in crisis. We've had so many weather irregularities, but if you keep your ears and eyes open, that kind of, because sixth house is pets and sixth house is doing service, and with Saturn there, it would really eat up the energy so very beautifully. It would be a real karmic boost, because Saturn, yes, it takes our fears and insecurities and expands them, but it really does. It's the king of karma. And wow, taking care of a pet with a disability or an older pet, if you lived in a smaller place and wanted a cat, an older cat, there's so many cats that are 2 years old, 4 years old, 6 years old, even 8 years old. They could live to be 17 and they really need good homes. That's such a Saturn in the sixth house thing to do. Does that resonate? It's
It
good for
does.
everyone. Absolutely. It's good for everyone. But it's especially good for Saturn in the sixth house because, as I did mention, sixth house is health. And some people who have chronic health issues with Saturn in the sixth house, um, that is a very easy remedy. We can cure every single challenge with astrology. I do medical astrology, I do astrocartography, and we can solve everything with astrology. And that is an easy remedy for a sixth house challenge, is adopting or taking care of or fostering pets and saying, I can take this cat for 6 weeks, no problem. Does that resonate? I feel like I've been really focused on your Saturn because Saturn in the sixth house really resonates for me. Right
Okay.
now, Saturn is in Pisces, transiting. You have Pisces in your second house. Okay, so first of all, Pisces in your second house is extremely fortuitous. Jupiter in your second house is extremely fortuitous. Why? Because the second house is about assets. It's about self-esteem. It's about the things that you value. So whatever you find valuable is in the second house. That's why self-esteem is there. But to have Jupiter in your second house, let me just double, triple check that you have Jupiter in your second house. Yeah. So you have Mercury in your second house. Mercury is the ruler of communication. And you have Jupiter in the second house, which means you can have your assets grow, you can have your wealth grow, and you can have your self-esteem grow. That is a very fortuitous placement, which is verified. Yep, your second house is ruled by Pisces. So Pisces is the traditional ruler of the 12th house, and that is the subconscious, the unseen. It's your intuition. And to have Pisces ruling your second house would mean that we value and we can tap into our intuition easily. If you have a gut feeling, and that's where Mercury is, the planet of communication, and Jupiter, the planet of luck and abundance and expansion, I would trust your gut. I would always trust your gut. Of course, we trust our heart and we follow our heart, but I would absolutely trust our gut. If I may, I would like to just speak to your ascendant briefly. Your ascendant is in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And where is your chart ruler? In the sixth house. So your ascendant, yes, it's about working hard because Capricorn rules the 10th house of work. And so you're definitely a hard worker. You probably put in, if you're supposed to be at work from 9 to 5, you probably get in at 8:30 and leave at 6. You probably will check your work emails on the weekend. You probably will punch out of work, but you'll check your work emails at 9 o'clock at night. You just are seen as someone that is a team player that people can count on. And you're also probably willing to share the credit with everyone. Oh, that was a team effort. And the chart ruler, because your ascendant is in Capricorn, chart ruler is Saturn. Saturn is in your 6th house. That makes your 6th house even more important. I'm really glad that we're doing this webinar on Jupiter and Saturn. They're really, really, really key players in your chart. Let me just speak also. Jupiter conjunct Mercury means that you have the gift of gab. You can probably talk to anyone. You can talk to a 3-year-old. You can talk to a 30-year-old. You can talk to a 90-year-old. You probably are easily able to speak to anyone because you have Jupiter, lucky, expansive, conjunct your Mercury. Are you comfortable speaking to all kinds of people from all kinds, different walks of light? You could talk to a
Oh,
CEO, you can talk to your garbage.
absolutely. I always say that I can talk to the CEO or the custodian. So, and I definitely love
Okay.
talking to children. That's my favorite age when they start talking and, um, their perspective on things. So yeah, definitely.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's wonderful. You have a very fortuitous, very, very, very nice natal chart, and I really appreciate you letting me look at it. Thank you so much. And thank you for being part of our event tonight.
Thank you.
Catherine, I have your chart, darling. Is it possible for me to pull that up right now? Please put in the chat if you would like to
Yeah.
volunteer tonight.
That's
Thank you,
fine.
Catherine. I'm going to pull up your chart now. Thank you for emailing me the information. I have it all in here. I'm going to share screen. You're right on time, Catherine. Perfect timing. I'd like to say divine timing. Catherine, we're going to the 3rd tab in chart settings, and we're choosing all of the asteroids. Sirius is our asteroid of nurturing. Pallas is our asteroid of strategy. Vesta is our asteroid of patience. Lilith is our brave, divine, feminine independence. And Juno is our asteroid of attachments. So we're pulling up Catherine's chart. And tonight we're going to focus on Catherine's Jupiter and Saturn. If you cannot see my chart, please let me know. Let's start with your ascendant. Your ascendant is in Virgo, Catherine. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And it looks like you have Pluto right on the ascendant. So you have Pluto in a close conjunction to your ascendant. What does that mean? So Pluto, in its highest form, is about inventing and reinventing ourselves and acts of service. It's about helping others, helping others, helping others, helping others, helping others. Virgo is the traditional ruler of the 6th house. And the 6th house, yes, is about work. It's about health. It's about pets. It's about daily habits. But Pluto in Virgo is absolutely about doing acts of service and helping other people. And that is absolutely part of your identity and what you show the world. People can come to you for help. That is absolutely part of your identity. Now, because your ascendant is in Virgo, your chart ruler is Mercury, and your Mercury is in Libra. It is in Libra in the 2nd house. So Mercury gives you the ability to speak to other people and all different kinds of people. And Libra is about being fair to everyone. Libra is about the scales. It's about justice. It's about rooting for the underdog. The challenge with Libra is that we tend to put other people's needs first. We tend to put ourselves last. And with Virgo as your ascendant, pushing you to do all the research, be very practical, make lists, focus on all the details. You may spend a lot of time working, a lot of time researching, a lot of time, because of the Libra, putting other people first, and perhaps putting your heart's desires to the bottom of the list. Does that resonate, Catherine?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So Virgo is ruled by Mercury. I would love to see you embrace your Venus planets. You have Venus in Sagittarius. You have Jupiter in Virgo. So because you have Mars, friends, Mars, we need Mars. We love Mars. Mars gives us our courage. Mars is about action. Mars is about determination. Mars is our great motivator. Catherine, our dear friend Catherine, has Mars, our motivator, our action in Virgo. We just talked about how Virgo is detailed, practical, lists. Who else do we have in Virgo? We have Jupiter. We have our ascendant in Virgo. We have Pluto in Virgo. We have Jupiter in Virgo. We have Mars in Virgo. When we have 3 or more astral bodies, I say astral bodies because I also take into account the asteroids. When we have 3 or more astral bodies, planets in one zodiac sign, as Catherine does, she has 4 strong planets in Virgo. That's called a stellium. It's called a superstellium. And with all of that energy in Virgo, we are disciplined about getting all the research, doing all the hard work. We may work day and night. We may work on the weekends. We may clean our house and do everything that has to be done 18 hours a day without a day of rest. And because Mars is there, we're motivated to do that. We're determined to do that. And because Jupiter is there, it's times infinity. Does that resonate, Catherine?
Yeah,
All
it
work,
does.
all work and no play.
Trying to change that though.
Yes. Yes. Remember, it's not you, it's the planets. It's not you, it's the planets. And you can make a free will choice. Now, it looks like your career, your MC midheaven. MC midheaven, friends, is always at the top of our chart, where all the other planets are everywhere, all over our chart. You can have your Saturn in the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house. We always have our MC midheaven at the top of our chart. It could be in the 7th house, in the 8th house, in the 9th house, in the 10th house, but it's always at the top, our midheaven. And your midheaven is conjunct Black Moon Lilith, our fierce, independent girl power. I love it. Like, I am woman, hear me roar, Catherine. Does that resonate? I love that energy. That's beautiful.
I am more so now than I was before. I think Virgo kind of took over.
Yes, Virgo tends to do that. And remember, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is a very quick planet. Mercury, the sun takes a year to go through the entire 12 signs of the zodiac. Mercury runs through all 12 signs of the zodiac 3, sometimes 4 times a year. What does that mean? Mercury is an anxious planet. Anxious, anxious, anxious. And so there's this anxiety when we're doing so much. And I have 4 placements in Virgo myself, including the South Node. And that's what I'm used to. That's my comfort zone. I like running around and getting ready and doing things and hosting large family gatherings where I don't want any help. You know why? Because Virgo has very high standards and we want it done our way, because our way is the best way and we know we're going to do it to the nth degree. It's about like putting mint leaves and raspberries in all of the ice cube trees. It's about going above and beyond. And with Jupiter there expanding it, it's times infinity. Does that resonate?
Yes, it does.
You currently have Gemini with Black Moon Lilith in your house of career. So MC midheaven is being beautifully aspected by Jupiter. When we have Jupiter transiting over our midheaven, we could have some wonderful abundance at the office, or if we're not working full time, perhaps we're volunteering. It's really our claim to fame, it's our reputation. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
You may have a promotion at work between now and Memorial Day. This is a very auspicious time to request a raise, to ask for a promotion. When we have Jupiter in our house and going over our MC midheaven, it is a very, very fortuitous time. And of course, let me just verify your house that you have Gemini in. Yeah, Gemini is in your 10th house of career. So let me just check your degrees. Yeah. So this is going to be, so we're going to have Jupiter in June of 2025 through probably March or April 2025. You're going to be in a very, very good phase in any work endeavors. Does that resonate? Between spring of 2025, Catherine, you are going to be able to excel in everything that's the big stage for work or volunteerism. You could be asked to sit on a board somewhere. If you want to join a community, if you want to join the Board of Ed, you can really, really reap many, many benefits. And this transit has got at least 18 months, 20 months ahead of you. This is a very, very good streak because you have Jupiter going over your midheaven and then immediately going into your 10th house of career. Does that resonate? Please, please, please capitalize on this. And I know I've talked about how you need balance, but with all those placements in Virgo, you're going to knock it out of the park. We do need to take breaks because we don't want to burn out. And I've been speaking a lot about your ascendant and about your midheaven and about Jupiter. I do want to touch on your Saturn. So you have Saturn in Aries. And let me just verify. Aries in the 8th house. So you're getting ready for your Saturn return. You have some time before your Saturn return, but we are just about to get to your Saturn return. So let's talk first about your Aries in the 8th house, and then we're going to talk about your Saturn return, which will happen in your... Okay, so let me just double, triple check. So Aries, Saturn in the 8th house. So 8th house is about shared resources, and it's about taboo subjects. With Saturn in the 8th house, you may not want to take your partner's last name. You may not want to share a bank account, either with a child, with a romantic partner, or with a parent. You may want to keep your money assets separate. Saturn in the 8th house is interesting because I also have Saturn in the 8th house. Saturn in the 8th house could be challenges with taxes. Saturn in the 8th house is sometimes attributed with having the IRS audit you. Saturn in the 8th house is about taboo subjects, death, sex, and taxes. And it's about the deep dive, about really having deep, intimate connections with people and either going all in or keeping people at bay, not wanting to take that deep dive. Saturn, depending on the transit, could really encourage us to isolate and protect ourselves. Remember, the 8th house is traditionally ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio not only wears a protective like shell, but it also is lethal and can sting and kill. I have Saturn in the 8th house, and I have had some challenges with the IRS unexpectedly. I'm divorced. That is also something that may or may not happen when you have Saturn in the 8th house. And there have been many, many lawsuits having to do with alimony. Lawsuits are also a side effect of having Saturn in the 8th house. Right now, Saturn is transiting Pisces, and you're about to have your Saturn return. What is Saturn in the 7th house? 7th house is about one-on-one partnerships, and it's about making rules and setting standards and having limits in the 7th house, about having expectations. Does that resonate, Catherine?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And you're on the cusp of your Saturn return. Remember, Saturn spends 2.5 years in each sign. So knowing that your Saturn return is coming in 18 months it's knowledge is power. It's about knowing yourself and understanding that, oh, I see you, Saturn. I see the energy that Saturn is bringing in and making a free will choice, because you can make any choice that you want to. You can have, Saturn squeezing us. Remember, Saturn takes our fears and insecurities and makes us really focus on those fears and insecurities. And we have to really step into it. When Saturn was transiting my 5th house of children, my youngest had a daddy phase where she just wanted to hang out with her dad. And I got really insecure about my teenager worshiping her super fun dad, where my house was really about rules, right? Moms, they say, do your homework and do your laundry and pick up your room. And my ex-husband's house is the fun house. It's the party house, man. And teenagers want to spend time at the party house. When Saturn was transiting my 5th house, it really preyed on my insecurities. And Saturn can be very, very challenging. And so Saturn moving into your 7th house of relationships could really exasperate any insecurities that you may feel. Understand, I see this is an insecurity of mine, and I know Saturn is squeezing it and making that free will choice to go into your heart center and say, let's have a leap of faith. Let's believe in self-love, because the more we take care of ourselves and the more that we love ourselves, the more we're showing the universe how to make others love us. Right? I know with those Virgo placements and those Saturn placements, you excel at your job. You're going to continue to excel at your job, but you also need to turn on that self-love and that TLC. Your Venus is in Sagittarius. So one of the ways that you can really love yourself is by learning, by reading. Sagittarius is about education. It's about reading. It's about foreign travel. It's about taking a long, long journey. It's about, you could even do, like, I know backpacking against Europe, along Europe might not be very appealing, but one of those like river cruises where you can stop in many, many, many different cities would be extremely, extremely, extremely fortuitous, because your natal Venus is in Sagittarius and your Saturn is transiting Pisces right now. And Pisces is really, the zodiac sign of water. If you could consider a river cruise to stop at many, many, many destinations, that would really fill your well. I don't know if that resonates or not, but perhaps meditate on that concept, because that would really balance things in your chart beautifully, given your natal chart and where your planets are transiting right now. Does that resonate?
Actually, me and my husband are thinking of a Mediterranean cruise next year. So
Beautiful. Yes. 1,000,000% yes. Please, please, please do that. That would be amazing. It would definitely, definitely help balance both your natal chart and your transit, especially since you are right on the cusp of your Saturn return, and as many stops as you can. Please listen to me. If you have the option to make 5 stops, 7 stops, 10 stops, or 12 stops, or 15 stops, please take the 15 stops. With your Venus in Sagittarius, Venus is the planet of self-love and loving others. Sagittarius is broad perspectives and foreign travel, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. The more stops, the better. Please book the trip to the Mediterranean and as many stops as you possibly can. And I know you're going to research the very best cruise that's possible because of all those Virgo placements. Does that resonate?
Totally.
Lucy, I need a birth city. I need the city of your birth. Would you please put the city of your birth in the chat, please, Lucy? And thank you for typing out February. I very much appreciate it. I really appreciate all the volunteers. I'm extremely grateful. Thank you, Lucy. I got your message. Can you confirm whether your time is AM or PM? Lucy? Thank you very much. Let me just confirm the data. 12:30 AM. I'm going to share a screen, friends. Okay, here we have Lucy's chart. I'm sorry we're going long. I want to get all the charts in. If you're done for the night, I respect your choice. Thank you for being here. We have Lucy's chart up right now, and we are sharing screen, so you should have the view of my chart. I have added our asteroids, and our asteroids are up. Lucy was born with her sun in Aquarius. Wonderful. Your sun is going to be aspecting Pluto. Pluto is at 0 degrees. If you were not here at the very beginning of our time together, I will just say, because your sun is in Aquarius, please don't be nervous about Pluto in Aquarius. Why? Pluto is blissfully happy in Aquarius. Pluto is giddy. Pluto is doing the dance of joy being in Aquarius. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Pluto in Aquarius, innovation. No, 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 no. Pluto is miserable in Capricorn and very happy in Aquarius. Pluto is the planet of radical change, death and rebirth, transformation. And Aquarius is about radical change and transformation, rebellious innovation. Because your sun is in Aquarius, this Pluto in Aquarius is going to be easy as pie for you, much easier for you than others. And remember, friends, Saturn just spent 2.5 years in Aquarius. Saturn squeezes us and preys on our fears and insecurities. We were just cleansed by the bleach of Saturn. So Pluto coming into Aquarius is going to be easy because we just went through this with Saturn. This is not anything to be afraid of. So let's embrace Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius, yay, Pluto in Aquarius, yay, Sun in Aquarius. Does that resonate? So you have Pisces, your Jupiter is in Pisces. We're looking for the glyph that's a number 4. Jupiter is number 4 in the glyph, and that's in Pisces. And it looks like Saturn, which is the glyph that looks like a number 5, is in the cusp of Virgo and Libra. I'm going to verify that. Jupiter is in Pisces with Venus, our planet of self-love. You also have your North Node. Your soul's mission, where you're meant to go in this lifetime, is also in Pisces. So that's Venus in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces, North Node in Pisces. And you have Saturn in Libra with Neptune. So the difference between your Saturn and your Neptune is broad enough so that I'm not concerned at all. I'm not worried at all. I just made my screen so big. Getting back in. I didn't save that chart. I'm so sorry for the delay, friends. Let me bring this chart back up. Thank you for your patience. I'll be even quicker this time. Settings, including our asteroids. And we're talking about Saturn and Jupiter. I'm going to scroll down. Your Saturn is in the 11th house of friendships, and your Jupiter is in the 4th house with Sun, Venus, and Mars. So let's talk about Saturn in the 11th house. When Saturn is in the 11th house, we are very specific about our friend groups. Remember, Saturn takes our insecurities and our fears and they exasperate them. We get squeezed in the being squeezed in the 11th house could be if a new person comes in, joins your work group or joins your friend group, you may evaluate them and say, can I be friends with that person for 50 years? It's funny that Saturn does that, but it really, really does. Saturn likes to think of every friend as either a long, long, long time friend. We have certain criteria when we have Saturn in our 11th house, and we say, well, this has been a friend of mine since childhood. I've been friends with this person for 50, 60, 70 years, and so I need to be friends with them forever. Saturn can also present itself in the 11th house by being very discriminating, very discerning, and saying, you know, the new person on the block has blue hair. I'm not sure that I could be really, really close friends with someone with blue hair. So maybe you might not, you know, chat them up at the block party. So that's one of the things that we can be when we have Saturn in the 11th house is discerning and discriminating. It can also be, because there's delays, we can also be extremely tolerant of friends that we've had for many, 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 many years. So if you're friends with somebody for 50 years, we may be very forgiving because we put in, you know, 20 years, 30 years in a friendship. We may not cut someone off when they really offend us deeply. Does that resonate? There may be very strong opinions about friendships and about people in our community. This could also, because it's community, could also be about a church group or a women's club or a tennis club that you belong to. The other thing about the 11th house that not everyone talks about is wishes and dreams and aspirations. So I like to say everyone should dream big and like think about what your inner child liked, like when you were a little girl, what you really wanted to be when you grew up, what you really wanted to envision, like your wildest imagination, and to really, really go for it and daydream. Saturn in the 11th house will want you to really dial that back. It will want you to be more practical about your aspirations and your wishes and dreams. Where if we had Pisces in the 11th house, our wishes and dreams could be like, I want to grow wings and be a fairy. Saturn in the 11th house will not allow us, will not permit us to have fantasies, to daydream, to imagine what it would be like. What if I was able to go to the moon? Saturn in 11th house would be like, don't even think about that. Don't even daydream about that, because you would have to go to college, you would have to go to school, and you would have to be accepted by NASA, and you know, you would have these limitations. Saturn is about putting limitations on there. So it could be that your dreams and aspirations are limited by having Saturn in the 11th house. It doesn't have to necessarily be about friendships. Yes, friendships. yes, about community groups like church groups or women's club or tennis club. Maybe you really, really, really want to, try and move up in your tennis club or your pickleball club, but Saturn kind of tempers down that ambition because they say that Saturn will make us think like, I'm just going to stay at the lowest level and not try and work my way up and kind of limit us. Remember, Saturn limits us and squeezes us. Does that resonate, Lucy?
Somewhat.
Saturn may also want you to have many, many people in your orbit. You may want people to prove themselves worthy before you befriend them, that they may have to earn your friendship. That is very, very typical with Saturn in the 11th house. It's not necessarily applicable to everyone, but it is something that does come up. Let me just look at your Jupiter. I love Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter in Pisces is more daydreaming. It's a lot of luck. Ooh, and you have Jupiter in Pisces in the 11th degree. If you look here all the way to the left, you'll see degree theory, and you'll notice that 11 is the degree of Aquarius. I love Jupiter in Pisces in 11 degrees. Let me just remind Pisces. You've got Jupiter in the 4th house of home. So Jupiter at home, where your sun is and your Venus and your Mars, that is a really beautiful childhood, my friend. That is a lot of love in the home. When I see Venus and Sun in the house of home, 4th house of family and mother, that is a very loving environment, a very supportive environment. And that, because Jupiter is there, you may have an extended family that you're close with. You may be, your best friend might feel like a sister. Your cousin might feel like a brother. Does that resonate? Jupiter with that many planets in your 4th house, including Venus, is a very loving childhood, a very loving home. And I love Pisces because with Pisces, we're encouraged to dream big. We're encouraged to dream big. It's a nice counterbalance. Does that resonate, Lucy? And right now you have Saturn moving through your 4th house. When Saturn moves through our 4th house, when Saturn moved through my 4th house, I sold a home. I bought a new home. I renovated a home and I furnished a home. Does that resonate? Are you doing some home changes right now with Saturn transiting your 4th house?
Oh, what? No, I'm not.
Is that something that you might investigate? 4th house
I'd
is
love
also
to.
about,
It
yeah.
sounds like money.
4th house is also about nurturing others. It's about being a mother to others. This may be a time where you're taking people under your wing and caring for people in greater numbers. Maybe nieces and nephews, children or grandchildren. You may be giving friends that you consider family advice. It's a wonderful, wonderful aspect to have, that 4th house. So well aspected.
Chris, I'm a little confused. The link that you sent earlier, I pulled up my chart and it looks nothing like the one that you have on the screen.
So what I did, Lucy, is I added some asteroids. I'm happy to take the asteroids out so that it looks similar to what you're looking at home. Does that look more similar?
Yes, it does.
So what I
Okay.
like, because I have 4 planets in Virgo, I like so many details. And so I fill up everybody's chart with all of the asteroids. I add asteroids. And how do I do that? I go to here, settings, and on the 3rd tab, I add Ceres, Pallas, Vesta, Lilith, and Juno. And you're right, it does really change the appearance of your chart dramatically, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes, but I'm happy to take those asteroids out and just focus on Saturn and Jupiter with you and simplify the look of the chart. Does that
Well,
resonate?
I like the most comprehensive reading that I could get. I just was wondering why mine didn't look like yours.
And I'm so grateful for the question. It's a great question. And there is really beauty and simplicity sometimes, isn't there?
There is, but I
So
like the
it's
way
interesting.
yours looked.
It's interesting to me. You have Neptune in the 12th house. Do you mind if we just touch on that for a moment?
Sure.
So Neptune is home in the 12th house. Now your Neptune could be in any of the houses, but your Neptune is home in the 12th house. Neptune is yes, it can be fog and mist. It can also be health. It could be working in the health industry. It could be about healthy habits. It could be always thinking about, is that food healthy or is that choice healthy? It's about subconscious. The 12th house is dreams and your subconscious and your spirituality. And with Neptune there, that is Neptune home in the 12th house. It's really got an impact on your subconscious brain. It's beautiful. Amazing. I wish my Neptune was in the second house, in the 12th house. I have Neptune in the second house. Second house is also about food, and boy, do I like seafood. Neptune in the second house. Now, your Jupiter is in Gemini. May I speak to your Jupiter transiting Gemini, please?
Yes.
So, Gemini is ruling your 8th house, and you have Uranus, the planet of massive changes, in your 8th house. And Jupiter is transiting that 8th house right now. So it's making your 8th house larger. It's making the changes in your 8th house larger. What is 8th house? 8th house is traditionally shared resources. So if you have a joint account with someone, that account could be getting larger. It also rules investments. So that if you have a 401k or an IRA, it could be making that account larger. And because you have Uranus there, you might make changes. You may change who you do your banking with. You might have investments at one place and then change it and have investments at another place. You may have your checking account at Chase, and then you decide you're going to move it to Wells Fargo, and then move it from Wells Fargo to Citigroup. And those changes and changes in resources, or changes with IRS, or maybe moving from one tax bracket to another tax bracket, or start receiving like a monthly payment from someone that you didn't typically get a monthly payment from. Like all of a sudden, you got a surprise inheritance because the 8th house rules inheritance. God rest their soul for any reason. So those are the 8th house themes, and with Jupiter transiting your 8th house, any of those things are possible between now and, as I said, Memorial Day 2025. Does that resonate? The
Yes.
8th house is sometimes frowned upon, but we all have an 8th house. We all have these taboo subjects that must be discussed either with a professional like an investment person, a banker, or a tax attorney. Everybody has to pay taxes. But with Uranus in the 8th house, there may be changes there, and those changes may be increased, and the 8th house themes may be more in focus because Jupiter is there, expanding them. Does that resonate?
It does.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any
Can
other
you,
questions?
Chris, can you add
Please.
the other um things back to my chart so I can see that again?
I would love to. So I'm adding Lilith, Juno, Vesta, Ceres, and Pallas. I'm hitting apply at the bottom, and now your chart looks different. And let me just verify. So you have Saturn in Libra. You do not have any of the asteroids in Libra. You have Jupiter in Pisces, and you do not have any of the asteroids in Pisces. What you do have is Lilith in Gemini. Let me explain who Lilith is, because Jupiter is going to be expanding your Black Moon Lilith energy. This is a wonderful topic, especially when I have women in my class, in my workshops. Divine feminine, independent, warrior goddess is Black Moon Lilith. That is where your Black Moon Lilith is in Gemini. So that girl power, won't let I am woman hear me roar, that energy should be expanding, because Jupiter, the planet of luck and abundance and blessings and wealth and protection, is transiting over your natal Black Moon Lilith. If you look here in Gemini, where I'm circling the arrow, you see a moon with a line and a cross. That is the glyph for Black Moon Lilith. And Gemini and Jupiter is where Black Moon Lilith is aspecting. Right now, Jupiter is at 18 degrees of Gemini, moving backwards, moving closer to your Black Moon Lilith. So more than ever, Lucy, you should be feeling empowered as a divine feminine, as a woman, owning your personal power. Does that resonate?
Yes, it does.
I love it. I happen to love Black Moon Lilith. A little story about Black Moon Lilith. Lilith was in the Garden of Eden before Eve. Lilith looked around and she said, patriarchy, Adam, God, these rules are BS. I am out of here. And she dropped the mic like Beyonce and she walked out like a rock star. Lilith does not take her husband's last name. Lilith does not share resources with anyone. Lilith says, I work hard for my money. It's my money. Absolutely not. Lilith has firm boundaries. Lilith knows her worth. Lilith knows that she is valuable and she is worth loving, and she has radical self-love and authenticity. And Jupiter is transiting over your Black Moon Lilith right now. Congratulations, and I want you to enjoy every single instant. Everyone will have Jupiter transit over their Black Moon Lilith. Everyone. You're just having it right now, Lucy. Does that resonate?
Yes.
That is definitely, I'm so glad that we added your asteroids, because you deserve to know that Jupiter is transiting your Black Moon Lilith. Absolutely 100%.
Me too.
Yeah. Well deserved. 2 words, well deserved. Does that resonate?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop share. It looks like we have gone through everyone who offered to volunteer. I just want to take a moment to say how incredibly grateful I am to each and every one of you who volunteered tonight. I could sit here and lecture each one of the houses, each one of the zodiac signs, what all the transits mean, but I feel like by diving in and doing it on a chart by chart by chart by chart, perhaps we can digest the information easier, that we can utilize the information on a personal basis. What's the most important? The most important thing to remember is that you are guided and guarded. 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 And every single one of these planets, Jupiter and Saturn included, they exist to make us better. And every time we have a challenge, we have a problem, it is an opportunity for growth. When we do the work, it works. Yes, Saturn exasperates our fears and insecurities. It squeezes us. Saturn squeezes us. Saturn return can be challenging. Saturn moving through a house can be challenging. Yes. But ultimately, it makes us the best version of ourselves. And when we align with Saturn, and Saturn is the color black, Saturn rules the Saturdays, it rules chores, hard work, rules delays, neutral discipline, non-attachment. When we align to Saturn and we ask ourselves, what would the best version of me do next? And we do that thing. What would the best version of me do next? And we do that thing. The rewards are limitless. 2 words, well deserved. You deserve all the rewards. When we do the work, it works. Now, for our friends with so many Virgo placements, please be kind to ourselves. Remember, we have to love ourselves and treat ourselves nicely so that the rest of the world, the rest of the people around us, and the universe knows how to love ourselves. I hope that resonates. I really, really do. Jupiter expands us. Jupiter is protective. Jupiter brings us rewards, luck, and abundance. Saturn challenges us. They're both here to make us better. You deserve every single reward that the universe has in store for you. If anyone has an idea for another astrology webinar, if you have more questions, please reach out. You are always welcome to reach out. Thank you, thank you.